Hi and welcome to day 8, which is our creative thinking process. So as usual, let's just quickly recap on the days so far. So day 1 was introduction and energy. Day 2 was all about developing our awareness of our emotional landscape. Day 3 was all about decluttering on different levels. Day 4 was making those loving choices for yourself and looking at areas of neglect. Day 5 was all about setting your intent and using your intuition and the difference between the two and what they are and how to develop them. Day 6 was all about meditation, and day 7 was this precursor to day 8. So as you'll see, we'll go over quite a lot of day 7 today. So, it was all about the affirmations, which is part of the creative thinking process. So let's get going. So day 8, now this process is something that I developed myself. A couple of years ago, I had a really, really bad eye infection, and I was basically told that I was going to go blind, which was a bit scary. And, and I thought, well, that is one possibility. And me being me, I kind of got myself off the medication. I mean, that was my choice. And, I was absolutely fine in that. And I started to look at natural forms of medication that I could use. But I also knew that I had to change my mental and my emotional thought process around it, because it was bringing up a lot of fear for myself. And I was kind of repeating, well, I'm going to go blind, I'm going to go blind, I'm going to go blind. And I knew that if I kept repeating it, that, I was just attracting more of the same, and it wasn't helping me. So, I'm not saying go off your medication. That's not what I'm saying. But you can absolutely support yourself, even to the point where you change what your body is doing. I truly believe that within yourself by, using this process that I had to develop for myself when I had this eye infection. So, you can go as far as with it as you want, but, this is something that I use all the time now, or very, very regularly when I'm struggling with certain aspects of myself. So let's have a look into it. So I've talked a little bit about my example of what I did. And as I said, I want to really stress that I'm not saying go off your medication, but why not use this process alongside it if it's something that you do want to do. So for example, you may be taking antidepressants, or you're on some sort of medication for a particular condition or, disease, and it's bringing up a lot of fear for you. Well, then use this process alongside, because it can really help to support your emotional landscape, how you feel about it, how you see your body. Because I feel, particularly with diseases, and I know from my own example, when we know we have something wrong with us, we feel unhealthy, we feel unwell. And if we're focusing on that, then it's almost like we're creating more of it, I feel. But by having something to work with in the moment when fear is being brought up for us, it really, really helps us. So the creative thinking process is a step-by-step process to help us when we're in those moments of struggle. And I've kind of recapped, with what I've just said. I've kind of included the how does it help to support us. As I said, it helps with our negative feelings around certain situations. It can help with fear. It can really help with fear, negativity, all those sorts of things. Now, another thing that I do need to stress here is, and I've said it before, that because we're going to be working more in this way, you're going to find yourself bringing up more negativity, because you're kind of starting to work in a different way. This at the beginning is probably going to come up more for us. And this is normal. This is part of the process alongside resistance, okay, which can come in different ways, very sneaky. But what's important for me is when I start to have a negative feeling, it's really important that I allow myself to feel that and be okay in that. Not attach my thoughts, because that's what I find happens is when the thought and a feeling get together, they just have a party. And it gets crazy. You get this downward spiraling, which is a very hard cycle to break. But in order to truly let go of a feeling, you have to feel it. You have to allow yourself to feel it. And I know it's not easy, and I know we don't want to go there, and I totally get that. But to truly let go, you have to do a little bit of that as well as using some of these techniques, because otherwise you're suppressing, and that is going to keep coming up and up and up if you don't allow yourself to feel things. And remember, you're going to get resistance in the form of, well, this isn't working. Why would that work? You know, blah, blah, all these sorts of things where you lose faith. But try not to let yourself talk yourself out of it, because it really works. It really helps. I have many clients that are working with it, and it's really, really helped them. So we've got two parts to this process. So the first part we've already done. This is when you're going to write your affirmations. So you're going to write a list of your regular negative thoughts. You're going to choose one to work with, write it down concisely, change the negative statement into a positive thought, into a concise positive thought. And just remembering to use your own words, keep it concise, start with I am if possible, and use the present tense where possible. So you should already, if you've done and completed day 7, you should already have your affirmation to work with. You've identified the negative thought, and you will have an affirmation to help with that. Okay, so the next part is the preparation, okay, because you've got to prepare. You'll see in a moment, you've got to do certain things to kind of have something ready for when you are struggling. So you've got your affirmation, haven't you? You've identified the negative thought. You've got your positive affirmation to counteract that negative thought. And this is going to be the trigger for the whole process. So the next step in the preparation phase is to imagine that this situation has been resolved in the best and desirable way for you, the optimum resolution, okay? So we've already spoken a little bit about this in day 7, and I've said, haven't I, which is part of the resistance. I absolutely recognise that. You know, and I still get that little bit, well, how do I know this is working? You know, and I know it does, but I still get my resistance that comes up. You know, a lot of my clients say to me, well, I'm just lying to myself. I'm kidding myself. You know, I am surrounded by unsupportive colleagues. Why would I lie about it, you know? And remember what I said about the law of attraction, and that what you focus on and what you put out will come directly back to you. And you're going to see how this becomes very powerful. So you're going to imagine in your head the what if. If this situation was resolved, what would it look like? So if we go back to the example of the supportive colleagues, you could see yourself going to work, couldn't you, in your head? You could see yourself walking into the building, saying hi to whoever's walking in the building at the same time as you. You could go to your office and one of your colleagues has got you a coffee, or they're like, hi, have you had a nice day? And then you can see yourself in the staff room, all chatting and having a laugh, and then going out for a drink after work, or, you know, going out for a meal or whatever it is, and really getting on. Just see yourself as though that desirable situation has already been resolved, and there is a very specific reason for this. You are changing the energy around that situation. You are changing how you feel around that situation, and if you do this regularly, they will feel it. Other people will feel that shift within you, and they will start to respond differently. It's a bit like a snowball effect. So or a pigeon tail, I think that's what we call it, isn't it? Pigeon tail effect. So this is what it is. So you're imagining that the situation has been resolved in the best possible way, and then you've constructed that mental image, and do it in detail. You could even write it down. What will your ideal scenario look like if it were resolved? Write it down and look at it every day, you know, or see it in your head every day. And then what I want you to do is focus on the feelings that this situation would bring you if it were already resolved, and identify those positive feelings. So how would you feel if you were surrounded by supportive colleagues? You'd feel loved, you'd feel joy, you'd feel absolute pleasure, wouldn't you, at going to work? You'd really look forward to it and be excited about going out with those colleagues and, you know, all those things that would bring you. Think about it and bring those feelings into yourself. Allow yourself to feel them, okay? So this is a preparation phase. This is exactly what I want you to do. When you go away, you're going to do that for me and not for me, for you. Okay, you're going to go through those steps. So you imagine it. Okay, what it would look like. Really go into detail and construct this mental image. And then focus on the feelings that situation would bring if it were already resolved, and identify those positive feelings and just bring more of them into yourself, okay? And so how you use this process is as follows. You go about your daily business, and as soon as you feel yourself feeling a negative thought, the negative thought that you've identified around the situation, the negative situation that is going on for you, you repeat your positive affirmation to counteract that negative thought. See the situation as though it's already resolved. You know, that you've already got that mental image already ready to do that. And then allow those feelings of excitement and joy and whatever it is into your body. Just really relish them, really focus on them, really allow them to come in. Okay? And that's what you do. Every time you struggle or have that thought or have the negative feelings, work through your creative thinking process. Now, like anything, it's going to take time to establish itself and start working for you. But like anything, the more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. Okay, then. So I felt like I've recapped on that quite a lot. So let's go into our task. Okay. So you're going to start by centering yourself, like doing your couple of deep breaths. You're going to make a list of your regular negative thoughts, and you will have done this already in day 7. So that's kind of recapping. Decide on the negative thought you would like to work on. Write down the negative thought, and you can always use the day 7 task for this. Rewrite this thought as a concise positive statement. Use your own words, and don't forget to use present tense. Imagine that this situation has been resolved in the best possible and desirable way for you. Construct a mental image in your head of what this situation would look like if resolved. Focus on the feelings that the situation would bring if already resolved. Identify them and bring those feelings into your body. So that's the preparation phase. And as I said, every time you get a negative thought, then you bring that in. You go through that step by step, okay? Because you've done the groundwork for it. And that's going to be your task, that you work with the creative thinking process every single time you feel a negative feeling or a negative thought around that situation or person or whatever it is that's bringing up negativity for you. Okay, so let's just very, very quickly. Affirmation, positive affirmation, because we've talked about what the creative process is. It's that step-by-step creative thinking process that we're looking at. So we've got the positive affirmation already from day 7. Okay, we've imagined and constructed this mental image of what that situation would look like if already resolved, and we've thought about the feelings that would bring if it were resolved. Okay, and we're choosing to focus on those positive feelings. Okay, and we've talked about why this works the way it does, and you know, I think I've mentioned again the law of attraction, and you know, what we choose to focus on we bring more of into ourselves. So see ourselves as a magnet. Okay, so you have your affirmation to work with, and I just want you to go away now and work with the creative thinking process. Okay, there's quite a lot to it, so if you feel there's something you haven't understood, just take the time to replay this video and just make sure that you understand exactly what you have to do. And like I said, the more you use it, you know, the more effective it will become for you. Okay, I will see you in the next video.